I remember a conversation I had with a friend where I was talking about how I was really having difficulty just making things. And they were like, well, maybe you're not as passionate as you think you are about making videos if it's so difficult for you to make them. And that really hit me because it was terrifying. I was like, maybe they're right. Maybe I don't actually like to make videos. Maybe I'm like forcing myself to do this. I started to doubt my own passion for what I'm doing. Last year I was talking to a therapist for the first time, and something I kept complaining about, talking to her about, was how I feel like I couldn't focus on things that I wanted to focus on. I would constantly go into this state of like mental paralysis where I just felt so overwhelmed by stuff that I felt like I couldn't do anything. And it was really bothering me because like I wanted to do these things. I wanted to make more videos. I wanted to be more creative, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And I was frustrated because I felt like it was my fault, like 100% my fault. I thought I was lazy, and I kept telling my therapist this, and she was like, Audrey, like, I don't think you're lazy. You might have ADHD. And I was like, what? Who knows if she's right, okay? I have no idea. Ever since she told me that I might have ADHD, it's got me thinking a lot about how I can try and improve my focus. But something happened recently that gave me a clue as to how I could actually fix this problem. About a month ago, I was in bed about to go to sleep, and I opened TikTok like I normally did, scroll a little bit, and this message popped up. I literally like went on Twitter and was like, how to re-download the TikTok app if you deleted it, and everyone was like, you can't. There's a ton of people freaking out on Twitter about it, and I was like, this is happening. I'm not gonna be able to re-download it anytime soon because it's literally banned from the App Store. But then over the next couple weeks, I had probably some of the most productive work days that I've had in a really long time. And I realized that I might have had a problem. I've been reading this book. It's called Stolen Focus: Why You Can't Pay Attention and How to Think Deeply Again. You probably haven't heard of Asa Raskin, but he has directly intervened in your life. His dad is Jeff Raskin, the man who invented the Apple Macintosh for Steve Jobs. We make technology because it takes the parts of us that are most human and it extends them. You know, Asa took that and he became a very talented coder, and he invented the infinite scroll. Asa told the author of this book that he felt sort of dirty. He began to think that one of my biggest learnings as a designer or technologist is making something easy to use doesn't mean it's good for humanity. And honestly, the line that scared me the most is when James Williams, a former Google strategist that the author met, addressed an audience of hundreds of leading tech designers and asked them a simple question: how many of you want to live in the world you are designing? There was silence in the room. Nobody put up their hand. There are so many positives to social media too. Stories have the power to change lives, and these platforms give us microphones to share our stories. It's just designed in a way to keep you watching and keep you trapped kind of in this cycle of endless content. And I don't know what the answer is. I just think it's important to at least be aware of like why we react the way that we do. Social media platforms are designed to trigger dopamine spikes through likes, comments, notifications, infinite scrolling, similar to how slot machines keep gamblers hooked. So every time you receive a like or a message, your brain gets a small dopamine hit, reinforcing the urge to check again. And over time, just like drugs, you may need more to get the same sense of reward. Even though obviously social media does not have the same physical consequences as drugs, its ability to hijack your attention can have a major impact on your well-being. I've been doing this thing called taking power naps. I have it down to a science. Set a timer for 24 minutes and I wake up 24 minutes later and I feel great. It's like natural caffeine. That was the plan, and the power nap turned into a long-ass nap. This is my extremely scientific analysis of what happened today, okay? I woke up, I immediately start scrolling on shorts. My brain gets easy dopamine and it kind of sets the bar for the day. I start working, I'm easily distracted because I'm trying to keep up that same level of dopamine that I was having earlier. And then when I finally, lay down to take my power nap, and I think my body, when I woke up to turn it off, was like, well, I can't scroll, and working doesn't sound very dopamine nutrient. So instead, I'm just gonna sleep. One small swipe in the morning can literally set the tone for your entire day. So that's it. I got banned from TikTok and now I can focus on the things I want to focus on problem solved. Unfortunately, I don't think it is that simple. The more I looked into it, the more I found that there's something missing. A lot of us use social media as a coping mechanism. We use it to escape things that are stressing us out, to turn off our brains for a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very natural response to stressful situations. I don't think deleting TikTok is gonna solve your problem of not being able to focus on things you wanna do. I think it might help, but I think what will really help, trying to get yourself into a situation where you feel as safe as possible. There was a study done that showed that children who had experienced 4 or more types of trauma were 32.6 times more likely to have been diagnosed with attention or behavior problems than children who had not experienced any trauma. These kids are constantly in a state of hypervigilance, which basically means that they're always looking out for different sources of danger. And that makes it very difficult if you're in school and you're trying to focus on math problems. And yes, this is a very extreme example, but I do think it helps make us realize that the environment we're in really dictates how we're able to focus. I know it's not realistic to solve all of your problems and be stress-free, so here are a couple ideas, all right? First, I think figuring out what does safe mean to you is important. Like, what are the priorities, the things that you want to work towards and focus on that will make you just feel comfortable to let your mind wander more. For me, a big one was not being financially reliant on how these videos perform, because it was stressing me out and it was not letting me be creative. And now, you know, it's taken years to get to a point where I'm not, but it feels so much better, and like a lot of pressure has been taken off. Try and think about like what some of those things could be like for you, and understanding that it could take years to get there. This is not like an overnight thing. But I think being aware of what is stressing us out is a very, very important first step. The second thing is to set time aside to work on your project. So for me, I try and give myself an hour every morning when I wake up, just for brainstorming, working on creative ideas. It's gonna be different for all of us, right? Like maybe you have time to set aside a couple hours Saturday morning to work on your project. Just making sure that it's very intentional, no expectations, just time for you to explore and be creative. The third thing is to just be aware of any coping mechanisms you might be using. With social media, for me, it was a big wake-up call that I used it to like distract myself from things that are stressing me out and dissociate. Like, it's important to know if you're addicted to anything, right? But with social media specifically, just understanding why we go down these rabbit holes, why we doom scroll for hours at a time, and how these platforms work to try and keep your attention and keep you stuck on them. I think being aware of all these things is really, really valuable, so that you can like put habits in place to not get sucked into these traps. Like, I don't watch reels or any sort of infinite scroll platform until after my workday is over, and that has made it so much better for me to avoid failed power naps and getting distracted by my phone way more easily. I'm a mess. I don't know, I just wanted to come and say, because this video kind of took like kind of a more serious turn. I don't want this to come across as me saying like, figure out all your problems, be stress-free, to be more creative. Like, that's just not realistic at all. I've been having a hard couple weeks, and I've been falling back into a lot of the things that I've been trying to avoid. I re-downloaded TikTok for work the other day, and I've like spiraled back into it, and it's bad. And I know it's bad, but I'm also really stressed out right now in my personal life, so like it kind of makes sense. I'm, you know, human. I deal with stress by distracting myself, and being aware of that is a good first step to being able to control those impulses a little bit better. Giving more time and freeing up space in your brain to focus on the things that you're passionate about. Because if you're thinking about something constantly, like, you can't imagine your life without doing this thing, pursuing this thing. Like, don't let anyone or anything convince you that you're not passionate about it, because you wouldn't be so obsessed with it if you weren't. So yeah, I know this was like kind of a sad ending, but I do think it is important, and I hope you took away something from it, and I'll see you soon with another new video. Bye.